story for Elevate, our Stage 1 APAC champions, not APAC South, APAC. And in Stage 2, they fell to pieces at the final hurdle. Both of these teams had it within their grasp to go to the major, but it slipped through, and now they have to do it here on Clubhouse, a map where we have not seen much of Guts whatsoever. Let's see what they've got in mind.
Does make you wonder, you know, like, it could be one of those maps that they've kept in the pocket majority of the stage for a situation like in playoffs when they really want to get home with some big wins. And to put the stakes on this game, this is the second round of the upper bracket. Winning this, they progress forward to that upper bracket final, which is just one BO3 away from making the major. There is huge stakes on winning this game. There's a massive opportunity to have to only get through one BO3 series to get to that major. And even if you lose it, you will get to go down to the lower bracket final, which is just another BO3 on a chance for the major spot. So yeah, winning this game is a really big deal for either of these teams.
That's it. You win right here, and you just need to win one of your next two BO3s, and then you go to Sweden. I mean, that's it. That's all she wrote. Now, Clubhouse is a very hard breach-centric map where usually we see one or two hard breach bans, or at the very least a Thatcher. And if you wanted a welcome to APAC, it would be welcome to APAC. We have a Ying and Finker ban here on Clubhouse.
You love to see it.
I mean, it leaves everything on the table, right? Maverick, Hibana, Thatcher, Thermite, Ace. Yeah, pick your poison.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how this might progress in terms of how the halves play out. You know, like we do so often see just Thatcher and then a hard breacher ban. It could be Hibana, it could be Maverick. They are generally the two most common. So like you said, you know, having all that on the table, it should in theory make some of these attacks a lot more comfortable. Kaid's still on the board, but you've got things to deal with that now. You've got the Maverick and you've got the Thatcher, for example. So you can see here, Guts haven't even bothered to go for the Kaid. It's not going to be about tricking with claws or anything like that. I feel like if anything, maybe they'll use impact grenades to trick the hatch and kitchen. But yeah, I feel like it's really going to make these halves probably a little bit more exciting than what we see in Standard Clubhouse.
And one of the things I am most excited about for this game is that I have not casted Guts in so goddamn long. Not since they picked up one of my favorite players of all time, Meryu, the legend himself, former captain of the infamous Norarengo roster, and everything that they were able to achieve. I remember, like, you know, the infancy of APAC was watching Meryu destroy people with the Bearing 9 while running Hibana shotgun. Like, that is just such an ingrained memory for me, and I'm so excited to see his return to this top level. Obviously, Norarengo kind of went down the toilet. Meryu, for a time, you know, wasn't playing the game so much. He was playing some other games, and he's back in. He's been with Guts now for Stage 3. And I'm so keen to see what he can accomplish. Just the mechanics of that man, it's like no other player I've ever seen.
Yeah, you know, definitely on that old Norarengo roster, it was very much kind of a Meryu and Walker stardom show on a lot of occasions. So definitely true there, Dev. But look, they're starting out on the defense here. Super curious to see how they play Church Arsenal, because again, usually you can even think about playing into creature comforts on site if you're able to trick certain hatches with Kaid or at least slow down those attacks. They're not playing the roam here either, so really giving a lot of map to Elevate.
That really does put the onus on Elevate to just get to work here with the timing. Oh, Napew's in a position and a half. Lily has absolutely no clue that Napew's already come down the stairs. And, I mean, this could be an engagement either way. Depends on who watches it, depends whether Napew exposes himself to this angle. Lily's just not even watching the right spot whatsoever. So if Napew swings Moto, surely he wins that fight.
Yeah, and that's a really big deal there, that Lily just has no idea. He's not going to be pre-aiming at the right spot. It's a bit of a harder one to flick it down to in an instant, but it's just a matter of who gets the jump on the other. That's a long standoff that's kind of occurred to no...
so long.
Yeah, to nothing really eventuating, but in the meantime, Elevate have been making really good progression, opening hatches, getting a lot of pressure on Aguirre, starting to poke down blue. So this is just really great time management from Elevate, honestly. Still a minute to go. They're still working on these hatches. That's the impacts completely expended, so that's going to be it. Kitchen hatch going to open. Elevate can really start to set this up.
Yeah, I mean, good progress for Elevate. They can pop the kitchen hatch now, but honestly, I think Meryu is pretty satisfied. He delayed a lot of time. And that's what Elevator now lacking as we head into the last 45 seconds of the round. No breach on the church wall.
Good point. Definitely no breach in the church wall, so he's going to create quite the funnel, but they're going to have to try to three-prong this. That's kind of the dance that you have to play with Clubhouse. You have to push from a few different directions if you can't get that hard breach entrance. They have telegraphed this, Dev. Looks like it's going to be more on the church side.
Yeah, but there's only 20 seconds left for this to go, and there are players everywhere. Light opens it up. That's a fantastic shot. As Sapper goes down, Yura is so hungry for this right now, and he knows exactly where Nerix is. On the other side in Moto, the collapse, it just falls to pieces. Elevate picked apart, and Guts hold firm on this first round of Clubhouse.
Really good round from Guts there. They didn't overextend. I think that was definitely the most impressive part of that. Even though Elevate were progressing beautifully, they didn't feel the need to kind of try and do something over-aggressive. They didn't hunt for that opening pick even. They just sat back, they held their positions, they covered each other beautifully. So as that explosion to sight tried to happen, it just was shut down in tremendous fashion. Great job from Guts Gaming.
Exciting prospect to think that the last time Guts played Clubhouse, it was in APAC playoffs for stage 2 rather, about 3 months ago, and they only won one round. They've already met Of course, a very different competition they're facing right now. That was Knights, a very dominant Knights in their peak form. And look, Guts are no longer playing it. Oh, sorry, that was stage 1, wasn't it? It was Knights played in playoffs in stage 1, so that was actually quite some time ago. Hey, really, Guts have not played this map in such a long time, eh? It's an exciting revisit for them, and a chance for them to prove that they've still got what it takes on this map, which back in the day last year, Guts played very, very strong on Clubhouse, but he had quite a different roster then as well. Times change.
Definitely.
Certainly has been the case for both these teams, I will just say. I mean, Elevate, they're a bit of a shadow of what they were in stage 1. Guts are the ones on the rise. Elevate are the ones trying to keep up with their former form.
It's definitely great to see, you know, teams kind of save certain maps for times like this, and I like the decision. If this is the case, you know, if Guts have really consciously said, guys, like, let's work on club, but not bring it in until we seriously need it. I like the call because, as we were prefacing during the operator ban phase, winning this BO1 is absolutely huge. The opportunity it unlocks in terms of the playoffs and your chance to make the major are massive. So I love this from Guts, and so far it's looking quite good for them. But we have only seen 1.5 rounds, basically.
Yeah, and look, while this BO1 is huge, so was the BO1 from Elevate just last week against IG. And because they let that slip through, they didn't get the direct invite to the major. They wouldn't need to play today had they beat IG in regulation. They lost it, so IG books their tickets already to Sweden. You can see Elevate dancing around on their operators a little bit. The Thermite brought instead of the Hibana on a hero on the Flores now, which was not present last round, which had IQ instead. Good info gathering here on the Flores, as well as, of course, the utility clearing specialist. Starting to really put some pressure on that cache site, cache area, as Elevate start to push on through. But, oh, maybe couple of angles, a couple of ways that could have gone, and Merriu shows that he is not a shadow of his former self and runs straight on out to greet them.
This is just brutal. Guts Gaming not afraid at all of Elevate getting right up in their faces. They are just dismantling them at this point, Dev. DCH has finally found an answer back. He's going to get into another engagement, which he loses. And poor Nerix, it's all on his shoulders.
Yeah, not going to happen. Not chasing down that player downstairs. What a great start for Merriu. I know I hyped him up. I know it's a bit of a, like, back in my day kind of thing, but I just love seeing Merriu pop off. Such a good player. Light as well, always, in my opinion, been a super underrated player as well. Often on more supportive roles, but just fragging out like crazy. You can see Elevator essentially taking this as a moment to tactically pause, use the remaining 30 seconds to just discuss.
And why not? May as well let it happen. And look, it's giving me a chance just to look through some of these APAC North stats as well. And no one particularly I don't know whether you say
15 seconds
overperforming
remaining.
on Guts' side, but they have a couple players topping some
10 seconds
stats
to go.
sections. Lily, in particular, has actually had a fantastic stage for Guts. Third
5 seconds
highest in
remaining.
APAC North for rating and KD. But I think a really great stat for Guts there is that Lily also topping
Operators, you have run out of
cost
time.
at 79%. I think that's like really solid from him. Just shows he's had a pretty good stage. Meryu actually with the most clutches as well. But you know, sometimes when you see a team somewhat dominantly top at the standings, you start to see a lot of their players in those leaderboards, but no, like it's just been a fairly even share in terms of the scoreboard presence on Guts, which is something that's really crucial in the latest kind of meta of Siege, is not necessarily just having one hard carry and the rest's kind of supporting and somewhat pulling, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure. All these players are super deadly. I'd say that for both teams, to be honest. But yeah, definitely some more specific standout players on Elevate. Sapper in particular has had a shocking stage 3. I don't have the stats in front of me, but if I recall, he was
Defenders,
one of the
protect your bombs
bottom-rated
from being
players
defused by attackers.
in all of APAC South. And so Elevate have been obviously toying around with their roster somewhat. Nerex coming in, and it has looked mostly good, but just not quite good enough, right? Like, we think back to the Elevate that played in Stage 1, and I mean, they can't hold a candle to them. Even for the most of Stage 3, Stage 2 rather, Elevate were such a feared team. And while that certainly hasn't changed here in Stage 3, and they've started strong this morning, earlier this afternoon, with the win over CYCLOPS,
5 seconds
it's
left before insertion.
not a given that Elevate are one of the favored teams in APAC.
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
Certainly a dangerous position right now for Elevate. Needing to hold on to a bit of the scoreboard. I mean, I'm starting to feel like this is very reminiscent of the earlier game we casted of Elevate, actually. You know, like it felt like they started quite slow and we were a bit worried about them, and then they kind of just warmed into it and they figured out what their opponent was doing, and all of a sudden it kind of felt like, why were we even that worried? So I do wonder, you know, is this going to be a similar thing here, Dev? Like, are we just going to see Elevate start to get used to what Guts are doing, or is this a bit of a different story here on Clubhouse against Guts?
Yeah, fair point. Interesting to see that they're going for the Mav trick, even though the wall has been minced up. And yeah, you can see, oh, that's why you mince up the wall, but Meryu punished Onigiri, the pivotal player here on the prone. Oh my god, Nerex is so low from that aggressive peak. Onigiri can now breach this. Not needed. We got DCH on the case. I love that. You got so many layers from Elevate. You can see they're going to burn the Aruni gate. Mate, that was the wrong... Oh, yeah, it was just burning ADSs. Look,
yeah.
These guys know what I'm talking... These guys know better than me what to do here. I was like, mate, you got to use your explosion to get rid of the evil eye, but nah, just burning for ADSs first. Very clear and methodical for Elevate, hey.
Yeah, look, doing really well. Maybe a little bit behind the par for time. You know, maybe they wanted to get that wall open in the first minute, but doing their due diligence. They got a pick out of it as well. I think that's really key. Meryu in particular, you know, he's been in some pretty decent form the last couple of rounds. So I think this is progressing well, but this is the telltale sign. Where to from here for Elevate? Are they going to try and take this garage control? Are they going to start to fan out towards Con? And that is brutal. Cloud taking out Nerex. He's Thermite off the board, and now also equal man count coming into this last minute.
Yeah, and Cloud's got such a fortified position downstairs, which means he can use his C4 late round for a denial of a plant inside of CCTV. So Elevate really need to pressure him or go for a deeper plant, which would be incredibly risky either way. If you want the Hibana, oh, that's such a good pick. Yura down. Now Cloud starting to sense a bit of pressure downstairs. They are going to hunt him, and he is just picked apart. Napier once again. It all spirals. And what seems to come out of nowhere is Elevate in a position to take this round so convincingly. Plant down, lighten the 1-on-4. SMG-11 in hand, but absolutely no info on CCTV, and just feeling the pressure mounting. Shotgun out, no ammo in the SMG, the pistol to close. A fantastic showcase for Elevate to fight back.
Really was in the end, you know, like they really, I don't know whether you'd even say they took their time, you know, they were still fairly efficient with getting CC Wall open. and they managed to get that pick onto Meryu, but they didn't overextend from that point. You know, they didn't try and ride any momentum through. You didn't see anybody toy around with that garage hold, which was definitely not going to be in the attacker's favors. Talked about how it was so fortified for Cloud, down through Lounge into the bottom of garage, and they still had a Rafters player. So I really like that Elevate played that super patient, and they just worked the control through stock, worked control through the main door at bar, and just all of a sudden they collapsed on Guts, and they had no answer.
Attackers
So
need to locate and
really
defuse
good to see the
bomb.
adaptation from Elevate and Execute.
You talk about adaptation. I love the way that Elevate is one of those few teams that does like to switch up the operator lineups, especially when everything is on the table here. Like, you have no hard breach bans, you have no Thatcher ban here. It's just Ying and Finka for the attack. And Elevate are just like, you've had Onigiri and Napu each play 3 different operators in 4 rounds. That's very unusual. Like, most of the time, when you play Clubhouse, you expect that your 5-man roster is going to probably be picking the same 5. Everyone's on the same operator every single round. Maybe you'll have one flex, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to try Ash instead of Zoph. Or, yeah, I might bring the Buck instead of the Sledge this time, because I want to do more Ferd, but I don't want the nades. Like, no, it's all over the shop here for Elevate. And I actually really like it. And it also shows like a depth of each player, right? Because there's a level of confidence that you have to play an operator at this level. You have to be comfortable with the gun, with the utility. And these Elevate players have a very deep pool of operators on what they're comfortable on.
I think on top of that, they've just made a fantastic read into the fact that Guts might try and switch up the philosophy of the way that they hold lockers here. In the previous round that we saw them do it, they didn't go for the roam. They didn't try and do, you know, the classic aggressive play. But Elevate have kind of read into maybe that's what they will do this time. So they brought the Jackal. They've brought something to help them with this roam clear. And I think that's just a great read. And here it is. Cloud shut down super early by Onigiri. This is already starting off on the right foot for Elevate. And once again, we might be seeing Elevate in general just getting a really good measure of their opponents and figuring out how to deal with that.
I'm getting PTSD of what we saw Elevate Cyclops. Elevate took a couple rounds to warm up, and once they did, oh boy, there was no stopping them. Every single round so far this match, the team who finds the opening pick wins the round. Will that continue here on the back of Onigiri's pick?
I just do, and look at that. Footsteps identifying Neru. He's just going to try and get out of there. Yura also aggressive in Lounge, and he's got Derek's. That is really well worked from Guts. Got that equal man count, and Onigiri, he hasn't found that cutoff either from the hatch in stock. So, look, that's actually worked out fairly well for Guts. And the fact that they took out Nerix, that's some hard breach off the board. I didn't quite see what he had left in the pocket, but it could actually put a bit of a dent in how this attack progresses.
It's actually going to be quite hard here for Elevate on the attack because there's no Hibana, right? So opening kitchen hatch, pretty much not possible. Especially now that it's just the Mav. Yura spotted from the Jackal scanner. Oh, and Onigiri can cut him off. He can't get back to site safely. Caught between a rock and a hard place, and Elevate do eventually refrag that kill. 50 seconds left. But the one thing that Elevate don't really have here is a solid ingress into the site. You can see kitchen hatch still solid. Sapper going to open Moto, but that reduces a lot of options here for Elevate.
And it just feels reminiscent of round 1. They're just not going to have many ways through to site, and not much time to do so either. So it's going to create a funnel. Guts have got great positions to sit back and just deal with that. But Onigiri, he may have blue for free here, Dev.
Oh, this could be huge. He's not even a rotate, so they can't even contest him. And he has plenty of util to open angles, should he so desire. Is there even anyone watching him? Okay, good gas, but he can now open up an avenue. And Onigiri is the pinch to flank here. DCH on for the entry. Lily, the highest rated player on his team for APAC North. Now in a 1 versus 3. That C4 could throw a spanner in the works, but the plant's going to go down. And it looks like Elevate might be able to lock this one in unless if Lily can pull off something extraordinary. That's another pick. 1-on-2 now, but Sapper to punish. And Elevate have now tied up the scoreline with 2 rounds of their own.
I tell you what, if Lily had just kind of C4'd that blue wall and checked the moto plant, I think he could have denied that. It didn't look like it was going to be that well covered. Anyway, hindsight 2020, also super easy for us. We're looking at outlines and all that kind of jazz. Yeah. But at the end of the day, hats off to Elevate. We were kind of criticizing that maybe they didn't have much time. no really great entry points into sight. But they really did a great job at identifying a big hole in Guts' defense, and that was the free blue control. And Onigiri did a really good job capitalizing on that. It spread out the way that Guts were trying to cover that church entry, and it just really facilitated that kind of explosion through the site for the plan.
Yeah, look, exciting prospect for Elevate now on the comeback, but Guts can go back to Gym Bedroom. A bomb site they've already won now, albeit we could have said that last round when they lost Church and Arsenal. They won it on the first attempt. Now Gym and Bedroom for the second time, and it looks like a little bit of a different operator lineup for Guts. Last time we had the Malusi, now we have the Frost from Lily, and I think that's going to bring more shields than we had last time. Because we've oh no, because the Alibi's actually running impacts.
10 seconds to go.
Quite unusual for Light. I wonder what the intention is there, if there's an impact trick perhaps on the cards. Because usually, most of the time, right, you want to bring as many shields as possible. If your operator can bring a shield, you're probably going to be bringing it. It's kind of like a C4. Like if you've got a C4, you're probably going to bring it.
Yeah, definitely interesting little operator lineup here. So we'll see how it progresses. And I kind of agree with you. Feels like Light's probably brought those impacts or impact tricking. I honestly can't think of much else right now for its use, but see how Elevate adapts. They have, of course, brought 3 hard breaches this time around. They've got the Hibana, Thermite, and the Maverick, so certainly lots of options available to them in terms of how they can progress and open things up.
So digging a little bit deeper into the Gym and Bedroom shake-up for the defense operator lineups, the Valk is new, and so is the Mute. Mute used to be a smoke, and that Valk wasn't there before, so a little bit more information gathering and information denial for Guts. Let's see if it stalls out Elevate, or perhaps those Valk cams can open up any opportunities for Elevate to make some, so rather for Guts to make some plays.
Nice little hole there just being opened up, but there is a Mute jammer on that wall, so those pellets are going to be jammed, I think. Maybe those top ones are opening up.
That said, you know, Hard Breach game is looking pretty good here for Elevate. Only thing is that the Jacuzzi wall, I believe, is still unbreached. And I think Sap is the only one who could really get to that now that both of the... Oh, no, there you go. Exothermic's already done the job there. So this is very, very well set up for Elevate, hey.
Yeah, look, they've done a really great job in this first 90 seconds. They've really worked on a lot of control. That being said, they haven't cleared out Cash or Con really yet. They've put some pressure, but it's not clear. That control is still firmly in favor of the defense. But Elevate certainly have a lot going for them for this attack. Still just over a minute to go. And like previous rounds, they're not rushing to set this up. And DCH, he might be on for this opening kill here, Dev.
But it's going to come down to timing. Light, peeks it, re-peeks it. Oh, it takes a lot of damage there. And Light's now going to go for an aggressive play, watching the balcony. But it looks like Light's going to be left with not much to do as, I mean, Elevator just collapsing on the site. And they can completely ignore Light off-site and just unimpactful. Look at that. It all changes in an instant. But what an instant it was. A fantastic showing for Elevate here on this comeback.
It's happening again, Dev. Elevate down 0 and 2, and we were starting to get worried. Why were we even worried? That's 3 in a row for Elevate. They just look like a completely different team outside of those first couple of rounds. It's just something about them that once they get this measure, this gauge of how their opponents are trying to play it out, they're just doing a really great job at adapting and dealing with it. That was just, we praised it a lot. You know, first 90 seconds, the hard breach work was phenomenal from Elevate. They had everything going for them, everything open, ready to cut off the defense however which way they wanted to.
Attackers need
It's funny watching Elevate sometimes because you see them attack and they're like all outside the building. They're just kind of steadily making progress. Hard breach this, hard breach that. Not a lot happening, and then before you know it, all 5 players on the enemy team are dead. Like, you know, measure twice, cut once is a favorite saying of mine. But I feel like Elevate, they're a bit of a wild card sometimes. Like they don't measure at all and they just cut perfectly. And sometimes they will spend like 3 whole minutes measuring and then just upset in the last couple of seconds and just explode.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it's definitely a good way of describing it, and it seems like sometimes that's the play
5
style they
seconds
just
left.
thrive under. The amount of times that we've watched Elevate just kind of look like they're in a tricky situation and they just have to explode, to use your word, and they just seem to nail it more often than not. It can be quite scary. So look, this is a really big round here. If Elevate manage to come out with a 4-2 lead from this first half, it's going to be huge. And yet again, it is going to be reminiscent of the first game we saw them play today against Cyclops.
We see Napu flex onto his 4th operator choice this game, bringing the Capitao. And I mean, that's just a perfect read, right? Like, is there any other operator you would want for clearing rafters? Maybe a couple sets of nades, which, by the way, they have 6 flashes and 2 nades. I mean, with that, as well as the Capitao's fire, rafters should be so good here. Like, I think Elevate have absolutely everything they need to go for a garage take. And realistically, with how well they've been playing, I would totally back them to win it, but oh wow, that is quite a C4. And while it only gets the down, that is some serious damage onto Sapper, one of the most, if not the most pivotal operator this round for Breach.
Yeah, certainly makes it a bit easier to, you know, even just go for a couple of toe shots. He's going to be easy to take out, but on the back of it, Nerix has managed to take out Light. So that is actually the opening kill still going in favor of Elevate. Yet again, they're doing a really great job with Hard Breach here. They're going to have CC Wall. They're going to have Garage open. He's missed a spot on this, so Onigiri just doing the great teammate thing, pointing out what's needed. And again, they've got this wall open. Beautiful time management. 90 seconds on the board to really make something work.
Now it's on Lily, one of the best players from APAC North in Stage 3. But he's got a lot on his shoulders with that 416 carbine holding rafters and really feeling the pressure. Here comes the fire, and it will burn. It will burn hard, and Onigiri can take down Lily. Elevate have everything that they need to make this work, but we still have Yura downstairs, still with a C4. Surely Guts Gaming start to make plays here, but DCH has the read! How are they this good? Cloud in a 1 versus 5, and it looks like Elevate can storm through 4 attack rounds in a row over Guts Gaming.
And scarily, that was probably the best round that they've looked in that entire half. To end on that, phenomenal stuff from Elevate. Honestly, hats off to them. 4 in a row after being down 0-2. They've really turned this one around. And that's a lot of pressure back in the camp of Guts. They've got to summon something here on their attack half. I don't know. Look, I don't want to call it either way. We certainly tried to do the same with Elevate Cyclops. It ended up being 4-4, and then Elevate ran away with it. So, look, it could be similar here, but that was a really dominant 4-round succession from Elevate in that first half.
Definitely starting to feel this this momentum brewing, and I'm definitely starting to switch over. Like, I was pleasantly surprised by Guts. You know, I had high hopes, but I didn't have high expectations. I think sometimes we get that way when we haven't quite seen a team break through. Yeah, that was a nice one. NS, can we get an NS in chat? It's actually gutting. That is so gutting.
As you were saying,
No, I can't even after that. Like, so just to clarify exactly what happened there, Sapper's just getting to work, making it super hard to play in lounge by just shooting up this wall. Onigiri jumps down from rafters. I bet Sapper just saw like his screen go black as Onigiri flashed before him, pulled the trigger, and that's goodbye Onigiri.
that is super unfortunate, but look, what it is, they're just going to have to move on. Look, sometimes it can help too. Onigiri can sit on cams, lots of call-outs. He can really call the push as he tries to collect info. The unfortunate thing about Clubhouse, though, is all those defaults super easy to shoot early, so you're not going to get much of a read from the outside. Either way, I'm sure Elevate will kind of take it in their stride and adapt, but this is a really big round for Guts in particular, I'd say. If Elevate can jump out to a 5-2 lead, that's just, it can be really tough to come back from, especially on a map like Clubhouse.
Guts have been given a lifeline. 5v4. no Aruni gates. I mean, none of the util that Onigiri would have put down. I don't know whether it was a bulletproof cam or barbed wire. Ooh, Light's actually struggling here with the wall. Where is that missing spot? It's such a thin line at the bottom. Most players will do it a little bit higher. This is so awkward now for Light. Oh, this is so painful. It's got to be at the bottom. Surely it's got to be.
Yeah, that top line looks pretty good. I think you're right. I think he's gone too thin at the bottom, but either way, he's managed to work it out. Guts have managed to get this open in pretty decent time too, so crisis potentially averted. That would have been really brutal for them if they weren't able to make that work or even lost somebody to it. So they preserved that man advantage. They've got CC wall open, and now Cloud and Meryu making tracks on the other side of the map here. This is really good from Guts.
Oh, what a position for Meryu. I just know he's so keen to swing, but the Evil Eye will give him the Evil Eye and force him to play a little bit more patiently. As Cloud gets to work. Former coach turned player. Cloud's been all over. And now trying to get a breach on this con wall, but for the most part... Oh, hello! I was about to say, for the most part, the X-Kairos is... the moment, Meryu's been jammed by Sapper straight out of the server for this round. Elevate, while they've evened up the man count, Cloud has made an even better breach on this wall.
Yeah, Guts still in a pretty good position, but just counting down to 40 seconds here, they need to finalize this setup for the execute. How exactly are they going to burst through the site and back each other up? They've got a lot of entry points, but Elevate, they've got some great positions.
Comes in. And Cloud swings in, takes down Sapper, strikes back again out of the room.
Attackers dropped
And Merrick's can hold on. Oh my god, Napew, that's huge. DCH, he was flanking the whole time! How did nobody know? How did we not know? And oh my god, it looked so good for Guts. They had it all. They had the freebie. But it didn't even matter. Elevate have just taken 5 rounds straight. They were down 0-2.
Yeah, that one's got to hurt too. I feel like Guts would have felt like that was within their grasp, but you have to credit Elevate yet again. You know, they had a bit of pressure in that final stage of that execute, but really great comms and timing, DCH on the flank, and it just looked clean. You know, they kind of all folded in just at the right time to at least trade that out at the, at the very least. I don't know, Elevate have just looked like a different team this past 5 rounds, almost like the Elevate that we came to love, earlier in the year, that just looks so strong. That's how they're starting to really look in this playoff series. I tell you what a time to peak in form in the stage. If this is where it is, this could be them making themselves a spot at the Sweden Major.
And for those who don't know, no Thai team has ever made it to a global Rainbow Six event, and they have been fighting for such a long time. Thailand has been one of the defining nations within APAC that have really shown their strength. At the start, it was Japan and ANZ to some degree. We saw Korea in there as well, mainly thanks to Mantis. But then Thailand started to creep in. Q-Confirm and Elevate really started to make a name for themselves, and they got so close time and time again until finally Elevate was crowned the best team in all of APAC in stage 1. But there was no major to go to. Thanks, COVID. But Elevate, they missed their chance in stage 2, and now stage 3. They're so close. They just need to get it across the line.
Definitely close. I'm sure they're starting to really feel that they can make it happen here, but they've still got some work to do. Got 2 rounds ahead of them to try and make this happen. DCH is going to be the first taken out by Meryu. It's his first kill in probably 5 rounds, in fact, so he's gone a bit quiet since we really kind of gassed him up. But this has been good progression already from Guts.
Yeah, I mean, in particular because statistically this game, every single round the opening kill has converted to an opening round win. Of course, that's not counting the team kill last round. Well, I guess it is if you count that the team kill was by Elevate. So, yeah, there you go. But here we go. Yura, just around the corner. That's another one. Easy as you like. And 5v3 now. I mean, surely Elevate can't bring this back.
Definitely gonna be a tough position. There's still so much time for Guts to really make something happen here. And Gym Bedroom, you can feel pretty squashed pretty quickly once you lose this cash and CC control. Yeah, look, I don't know. This man disadvantage is certainly going to come back to bite Elevate in the latter part of the round, but you never quite know. All it takes is a couple of quick picks from Elevate to equalize, and they could turn this around.
Definitely can't count him out.
Attackers have located a bomb.
If Guts play this slowly, they play this patiently, but continually make progress. They don't stall out, they just get to work. Then they can definitely win this. Problem is, Raven, like what, 50 seconds to go, 0 breach on Jacuzzi Wall. Like that, there is a lot lacking in this attack, despite the 5v3.
Definitely is, and maybe they've just made the call, you know, we've got the man advantage, like let's not overcomplicate it, let's try and keep it simple, and we can just push side, trade it out, something like that. You never quite know, but 2v5, it's certainly going to make it easier, and just like that, Dev, all up to Derek to save this one for Elevate.
Yeah, welcome to the team, Nerix. How about a 1v5? Let's see what you're worth. 20 seconds to go. Nice C4
Attackers are
pre-placed,
activating
but
the diffuser.
nowhere near where it needed to be. Believe it must have been from Kitchen looking into logistic, but I think it looks like he's going to bait. He's going to sit there, he's going to try and pad the KD. He's like, look, Mom, I'm positive. Almost 2.0 KD. And look, it's likely to stay that way if Guts don't push him, and I don't think they will. But hey, this is a pretty significant disrupt to that momentum, right? We just saw Elevate take 5 rounds straight, and now Guts have won this one.
Definitely, and look, this is probably just, if anything, a quick little timeout for Elevate. They got an opportunity here to just have a quick chat. You know, they can stabilize themselves. They've just had a 5-round win streak. Just relax, take a breath. And then on the side of Guts, yeah, they finally have broken that momentum.
Attackers win.
That's got to feel good. It never is great when you've lost a lot of rounds in a row. Finally feels good to break that. And look, they're certainly well within a chance to bring this one back.
I love to look at my stats of teams' win rates on attack and defense on specific maps. It's my favorite thing. Since I added that feature to my spreadsheet, I can't get enough of it. So I'll give you this. Elevate are 51% attack and 57% defense. So actually you would expect them to do better on their defense than you would on their attacking side. That is specifically for Clubhouse. Whereas funnily enough, Guts are actually super below average on their defense. Now, albeit there is very, very little sample size for Guts.
Attackers
So
need to
you got to
locate
take
and
these stats
defuse
with a grain of
bomb.
salt. But they've won 5 defense rounds and lost 9 on this map in 2021. That's Guts. So that's a 36% defense win rate. So Guts actually tend to struggle on their defense, which is what we saw, right, in the first half. So that kind of starts to add up. I feel like I do have faith, though, in Elevate. It's just so hard to see them losing it from here.
Yeah, I tend to agree, but I don't know. I mean, like, we saw some great things from Guts in those first couple of rounds, and look, they've had a really great stage, and there has to be a reason that they've let this go to Clubhouse. I mean, as you're portraying perfectly here, Dev, they have barely played it this year. Like, they just really have not played much Clubhouse, and even when they did, it wasn't to the greatest of successes. So it must be a map that they have been working on, and they've left it for a special occasion such as this. You would hope to see more from them on it.
Well, let's see what Guts have got to show then. Anything hidden up their sleeve. Another opening pick. I'm going to say it again. Every round so far, opening pick has meant a round win. So that's an incredibly strong start here for Guts. And Elevate are struggling to find their feet on their defense. They're struggling to not over-aggress.
Speaking of, there's a player in this hallway. Oh no, Onigiri tried to get a little bit cheeky. And look, Light not even going to go for the trick. He's just opening a whole rectangle just to run through. But
why?
Don't know.
Why?
But this is, look, this has been a really good start from Guts. First minute, 2 picks. And on top of that, it's Napier and Onigiri, 2 of Elevate's stronger players. You couldn't find a better way to start the round, honestly.
Yeah, I really feel like this round's almost over already. Hate to call it so early, you know, we're not even halfway through, but it's hard to have faith in Elevate, especially with what happened last round.
Cover me.
And now Guts have another chance to, well, get even closer to evening up. this match. And you just got to, right now, be thinking to Elevate. It's like, oh, how do they keep letting these early picks sleep? How do they... Why don't they just stop playing so aggressively? Like, that's what you've got to wonder.
This doesn't feel like it's in Elevate's DNA, honestly, but look, they're going to have to find something because
Bomb located by
Guts
attackers.
are certainly mounting quite the comeback here. They lock in this round. They're only one away from tying up the actual score. So yeah, pressure on. Coming into this final minute though, Kitchen Hatch not quite open. They're going to hard focus it now. And if this comes open, then Guts are perfectly set up to try and work this execute.
So Cloud is trying to destroy the electric claw. Where is it placed? We might not be able to see. But if you put some Excaros on the edges of the hatch, it can sometimes destroy that claw, and they are struggling so far. Lily needs to nade this off. We don't know where it is. It could be straight on the hatch, it could be somewhere else, but Guts are just making this look easy. Lights found a double, and Yura makes it a flawless round. Guts Gaming are bringing the heat in the most Japanese way that they can on their attack.
This starts to get a bit scary for Elevate. You know, they had the 5 rounds in a row. Now Guts have had 2 in a row. All of a sudden, they are very close to tying this up. Guts are getting some momentum. That was a great round from Guts, honestly. They got those opening picks. They progressed nicely, and they never really took their foot off the accelerator. You could call out, though, that maybe Elevate just a little too antsy. I mean, Napier trying to get what looked like an aggressive run out around that strip doorway, kind of throwing that one away. You could kind of spotlight that a little bit on Elevate's part.
Yeah, absolutely. Elevate can definitely look at some things right now, and they're going to need to say, look, mate, this ain't working. Let's stop that. Let's stop this. Let's start doing that. 1 round lead now is all that they have. After winning 5 rounds in a row, they've just lost the last 2. Now Guts are hungry, and they are sprinting. They are coming for it. They're coming for Elevate. Running from behind and so close to overtaking. Church Arsenal being reattempted here, not locked in yet through the tactical timeout. But I mean, surely you've got to think it's just play that same site, but just don't feed early picks.
Yeah, feels that way. I mean, I feel like Elevate could still stick a part of the philosophy of that previous defense, but yeah, just not quite run at Guts with as much gusto. Yeah, Napier and Onigiri dying so cheap at the start of that last round. It really just... It was downhill from there. It's not an easy site to counter that kind of man disadvantage early. 3v5 with still 2 minutes on the board. It's just not great. So, look, they've 6-picked onto the Mozzie here. They're going to be able to do the classic roam with the Mozzie mute, intel denial, maybe try and play a little aggressive still on the roam. But I think they've got to make Guts work for it a lot harder.
Yeah, they certainly do, because it's not looking like work for Guts at the moment. It's looking like, just hold down right click. Hey, there's someone walking into my sideline. There you go. I'll take that freebie. Work from there. Marius found the last 2 rounds entry. So he's been coming back into form. No doubt on the back of drones from his teammates, of course.
10 seconds remaining.
Elevate are going to try and suffocate that drone work. You can see Napier, he's going to get Light's drone here. He does manage to hack it. I wonder where he's going to place that. Might be able to find a nice little spot for it in bar. He needs to get into a safe position in order to actually move it. And of course, that's going to prevent his mobility from droning. Let's have a look at where he's going to try and place this one, because this could always have a significant influence in the late round, particularly if he gets it like Kitchen and they enable a C4. That's what they're going to go for.
Yeah, it looks like it is what he's going to go for. So that would be brutal and really could come back to bite Guts. They're going to have to be really careful about that one. Already really good entry here from Euro. Cuts off a lot of bar as it is, and some really good droning coming up from Guts. You see a lot of drones just funneling across that top floor and the middle floor, just trying to find if there are any roamers. And in fact, from what I can see from outlines, Elevate aren't roaming. They've kind of feigned it here.
I like that, and I think it's the right play, especially with that info from Napier's drone. They can probably enable some C4s. They can have a good read of this push. You can see if you look at Napew's gadget, right, you can see how many Mozzie pests he's got, but then under that, the number, that little 1 under the 0, that's how many drones he has in the field. And he still just got the 1. We can see that it is still up. He's going to ping his C4 and ask his teammate to watch it. He might be able to find a cheeky kill here as DCH is watching for that and just asking for the call out, but I think that C4 has been destroyed now by the Ash.
It did look like it was in the right position, so that could be lucky for Guts. Honestly, they probably had no idea that there was a C4 waiting for them. And I think that was the Mozzie drone just there getting shot by Lily, so that's going to not work out to any effect. Light, though, I don't think he realizes how close he was to seeing Napier.
Oh,
And
Napier.
speaking of playing aggressive, he's on the main stairs. What a beautiful shot onto Meryu. And opening that out for Elevate is going to be a great position for them coming into this last minute.
Yeah, this is so good for Elevate, but Guts Gaming still have a lot working for them. One significant issue is that Lily still hasn't managed to clear the Electroclaw off the kitchen hatch. Guts don't have as much to work with as they would like here. And Cloud hasn't breached that hatch. So kitchen, I mean, there's not a lot of work to be done here. Surely that nade gets the claw. It doesn't! Oh no!
That is rough. Lily, second nade.
Oh,
Doesn't look
they
like
don't
that
have it.
does either. So this
Bomb
is
located by
brutal.
attackers.
Guts, 30 seconds. They're just going to have to yeet down the main stairs. They've got to make something work at Church. And look at Elevate. They are pulled back, ready for this.
That said, blue control's been taken, and Light's found one before being traded. Yura in blue does some good work. Light surely loses. That's Lily losing his life, surely, but there's only 2 players left on either side as Cloud starts to force that diffuser down. Yura has a fantastic position, but traded. It's a 1v1. Sapper versus Cloud. With that diffuser down, it's a retake. And there's no utility for Sapper to use. Cloud still up. His teammate finished off, and he's pushing aggressive. He's fighting for it, but the low magazine capacity is going to punish him. Sapper sees it, but he's going to land it! What a flick! How does he make it work? Elevate match points!
That was such a nasty flick to win the round for Elevate. Absolutely gobsmacked, honestly. I could even barely see that player on my feed. I'm not going to lie. Gobsmacked. That was just so well done to clutch it out from Elevate, and that's got to hurt for Guts. They probably felt like they had that in their grasp to push it to 5-5, and now Elevate on match point.
Oh, that's got to be gutting for Guts. They had everything that they needed. I mean, it was kind of a miracle that they made that execute work with no kitchen hatch, but that blue presence was just so good, and it looked like Yura had essentially won the round for them, not to mention Cloud getting that diffuser down. Really had not expected that retake to work, but a massive clutch for Sapper, and that is something that will resonate throughout the rest of this match, and it might not be a long match from here on out, Raven. 6-4, 1 round off of Elevate taking it and moving to that upper bracket final where they will have a second life, firstly a shot at the major in a BO3 and then a second life should they lose that.
Yeah, it's certainly a really big opportunity, and they'll be playing the winner of Chiefs and Direwolves in that first BO3, so familiar with both teams, they will certainly feel comfortable backing themselves in to maybe get it done in one go. But they've got one more round to put Guts away so that they can get that opportunity. Going to CC Cash, can Elevate put it away here and book in that BO3 in the upper bracket final?
Guts are looking for the first win for a North team. Remembering that this is essentially Guts' first game of the tournament, right? They're already in the upper bracket thanks to the forfeit. Mercenaries couldn't field their roster in time. They couldn't get into the server, and so they had to forfeit their match. Guts, maybe they're coming in a little bit cold. Elevate's already had an incredibly challenging first game where they took down Cyclops, and now they're just making mincemeat of these Japanese teams.
They're doing a really great job. Big opponents to take down as well, you know, taking out Cyclops and eventually Guts if they close this one out would be no easy feat. So Elevate can certainly carry a lot of confidence moving forward, but again, they have to close this one out. Guts reverting to bullets to just open that one, it looked like. Maybe Lily just not quite getting enough of it open, so a little bit on the edge, but this is already fantastic time management from Guts. They got that open very quickly.
Alright, we don't need this drone, will we? Just chuck that in the game. Don't need that. I mean, definitely more valuable. I don't understand. Fair enough. Like, if you think that the drone is less important than your concussions, fair enough. It's a good one.
Why not? You got it, why not?
I'm
Dev?
not going to be droning anyway. I'll get my teammates to do that. That's fine.
That's right. Don't need to drone if your opponents are dead, so just shoot them, yeah?
Well, no one's dead as of yet. And guess what, Raven? I'm going to say it one more time. Every single round, the team who finds the opening pick has won the round. So I'm very keenly awaiting this opening engagement.
Definitely. And it's huge from Sapper once again. Takes out Cloud. That's the opening kill going in the cards of Elevate, the hands of Elevate even. So look, this could be a sign of them closing out the map.
Oh, the 1v1 from the end of last round turns out to be the opening 1v1 for round 11. What could be match point here, what looks to be the final round needed for Elevate. We've got Napu on for the flank. Surely Guts feeling that pressure. They might not be watching. We've seen a flank like this before have huge impact, but it looks like Guts are watching. Sapper, though, in an aggressive position. Great pick by Meryu. 25 seconds on the clock. 4 versus 4. And Guts need to push. Elevate just have to hold on, but Guts are throwing everything that they have got. Yura goes huge. 4 kills could be it for him, but DCH, he makes it close, not close enough. And the Guts hold on for another round.
Oof, Guts really did a great job bringing that one back, and they've finally broken the trend as well about opening kills, so can't dip into that one anymore. Look, it was a great effort from Guts. I cannot get over the swing from Meryu. He knew someone was flanking and he wasn't waiting for it at all. Great plays, and well, this gets a bit scary, doesn't it, Dev? They're going to go back to CC Cash as well. Elevate confident they can make that work, but they can't afford to lose another round because it's going to go to OT.
Surely Elevate can't choke this lead. They've always felt pressure in playoffs. They've always been so close, and it's been ripped out from underneath them. For Guts, this is the best they've ever done. Like, they have never played, just like Elevate, never played a major or international global event. Guts have had some fantastic showings in the Japanese leagues, the various national championships that they've got, plus, of course, this APAC North season, Stage 3, where they were so close to booking their tickets to Sweden, but choked in their final game. I think we have a bit of a common theme between not only all of these teams, but it feels like every single team in APAC at the moment. You talk about Chiefs, you talk about Knights. Everyone is suffering from the crumbling pressure.
Yes, that they are. So, speaking of, I don't think there could be any higher pressure on either of these teams in this match right now. Guts cannot afford to lose this round. They are facing match point. So losing this would mean losing the match. And likewise to Elevate. They don't want to have to go to overtime. They don't want to give Guts another chance to bring this back.
I'll give you one more. Like, if this goes OT, Guts start on the attack. And it would have been a regulation where there were 4 defense wins and 8 attack round wins. So heavily attack-favored match, which would of course favor Guts in OT.
All the more reason for Elevate to really dig deep here. Now this first minute was really efficient and just pivotal for Guts in this previous round. Yet again, Light is really on top of his game now, opening this wall or tricking the wall. First minute, once again, it's a lot of pressure to put onto Elevate on side.
Gotta say, I've got secondhand anxiety from watching Lily try and breach this one. So exposed to rafters, opening that with the sledgehammer, but doesn't die. Yura is once again on this incredibly powerful rappel outside of Kennels as the rest of Guts get to work on the map clear.
Again, wasting no time at all to try and flush from Master. It's Onigiri trying to get aggressive around construction door. Just identifying that this is where Guts certainly are going to want to push next. And they're, again, wasting no time at all. Players flooding through Master and Con to really take up that control. So Elevate, so much pressure on them on site right here. You'd have to expect that they might try and do a flank or something to turn the tide of this round. Because at the moment, it feels like Guts are really progressing towards a potential round win.
Elevate are holding on. Oh my god, the nades. Sapper is just playing the floor as lava with those nades coming on through, playing a bit of dodgeball. But he's still in, hasn't gone out yet. Oh, this C4 could be huge. But I think Cloud must have shot it out of the air somehow. I think that's what's happened.
Looked like it didn't make it through, and Onigiri is the opening death coming into the final 40 seconds. Guts are building Dev.
And they're building up to a huge execute. Yura once again in this fantastic position on Kennels. They know exactly where he is, but they can't stop him forever. Nerix to throw the last gas bait he's got to hold on for another 20 seconds. There's not much time for Guts to get the job done, and Elevate are fighting back. The plan could be denied. Nerix snuck into that position and found a double! Oh my god! How does it fall apart like this? Elevate have done it! They won Clubhouse and they will march forward to the upper bracket final in the APAC playoffs for stage 3.
Nerix's debut stage, take a bow. He's just won a massive game for Elevate off the back of a triple kill. That was Guts Gaming's round. By all rights, they had done everything right until that point, and he just slipped through that crack, took advantage of it. What a game from Elevate. I mean, bar the little comeback from Guts Gaming, let's not look over the 5-round streak that Elevate went on in the